Today, I wanted to offer something special, a chair yin and somatics, which is focusing particularly on the upper back, the shoulders, and the neck. So the way that I potentially see you using this practice is, of course, at work, where we tend to get a little tight in those areas. Now, that, of course, will depend on whether you have a chair that meets these certain criteria. So the simpler the chair, the better. You must not have any arms on your chair, and the chair does need to have a back which comes up about to the middle of your back. As you can see, my chair has been adapted specifically for yoga, so it doesn't have this surface to lean on. It's totally fine if your chair has that. In fact, that's probably better for what we're going to do today. So I'm actually going to have you sit in your chair so that you are reversed. You're actually facing the back, which means your knees are nice and wide and on the outsides of the back of the chair. If it's okay for you, it's comfortable enough for you, you could even have your thighs resting on the backrest, on the sides of the backrest. Bring your hands to the top of the back of the chair, just so you have a nice surface to rest your hands on. And before we get started with your movement, just take a moment to close your eyes and take a breath. And then on your next in-breath, pull on the chair a little bit with your hands to lift your chest up. And you might be able to kind of pull on that chair enough so it's kind of drawing your chest towards your hands and you can lean back a little. And then as you come back to a neutral spine, push slightly on the chair so you can tilt your pelvis back, tuck your chin. So basically a little cat-cow, right? So you're going to pull on the back of the chair to lift your heart. And then you're going to push on the back of the chair to round your back, tuck your tail, do a couple more. And please do be really gentle with this. So keep the movements very exploratory, very mild. I always think that work with the chair can get very intense very fast because we've got something to pull on, right? So don't use this chair as an implement to torture yourself. Let it be supportive to you. Let's do one more of each. So the heart lifting and then that heart rounding, keeping it very casual and in tandem with the breath. And the next time you're passing through center, you're just going to stay a nice steady posture, a nice steady posture. And let your hands just rest on your thighs now. Turn your face to the right. Just turn it just gently to the right. No need to press into difficult or uncomfortable territory. And then pretend that you've dropped something on the floor just to the right side of you. And kind of lean over and look past your shoulder and your hip toward that imaginary thing that you've dropped. And keep your neck really relaxed. And start to bring yourself back up to vertical from the lowest vertebra possible. So in that thoracic spine. So we'll come back to that side bend, looking out over your shoulder. And then one vertebra at a time to stack again. Your face is turning to the right throughout. So your face continues to turn. You'll look down at that object that you have dropped. And then one vertebra at a time, you'll come back up to vertical from the side bend. Let's do two more. Just kind of warming up that thoracic spine. Now, a lot of times we do the ragdoll movement in yoga in the sagittal plane. That means front to back, right? Right now, of course, you're doing it in the frontal plane, which is a little different. So the next time you're looking down at that object, you're already in the side bend. Bring the left hand back to the back of the chair and the right forearm just to rest on your right thigh. Keep your gaze down and push into the chair with your left hand. So your left shoulder and waist move away from the back of the chair. Your face is still looking down. You're probably feeling a little bit more of this in your left side body. Now, you could just stay here. I personally would like to actually prop up my head in my right hand. So I'm going to go ahead and bend my right elbow and rest my forehead on my right palm. Continue to press with the left hand into the back of the chair. And use your breath to explore the left side waist. With the left hand pressing into the chair, you might be feeling the left shoulder blade really nice and firm on your back. That would be an awesome thing to observe. And of course, there's a possibility that you're feeling a little stretch on the left side of your neck as well. But if that is the case, can we keep it nice and mild? And then we'll be here for about another minute, so keep that breath nice and steady. The pose should be mild and casual. I see a lot of misinformation about the neck when I venture into social media. There's a pervasive misunderstanding that stretching will adaptively lengthen tissues to correct posture, to correct stiffness, or even pain. I'm afraid that this is definitely a myth. So you don't need a big stretch here in your neck. Keep it really mild and keep the breath really steady and calm. Let's take one more breath. And then this was a lot, even though we didn't stay long. So I'm actually going to have you kind of lean back into the back of the chair. Let your head just hang as you return to the center. And then push yourself back to a more vertical position, hands resting on the back of the chair. Just rest your hands for a moment. Take a breath. Notice the differences between the two sides. Definitely it feels different, right? Definitely feels different on one side. So what happened to the left side of your waist, left side of your neck? Well, number one, your nervous system, your brain really just got perked up to these areas because stuff was happening over there. Muscle tissue is primarily in service of sensory information. Most of the information that travels between the brain and muscle is actually information muscle is sending to the brain about position, blood flow, temperature, oxygenation, effort, fatigue, all sorts of other chemical signals. So the brain really gets perked up when you hold a pose like that. It's really listening. Now I'll have you hold the back of the chair once again, the back of the upper seat, and just draw yourself by pulling with the hands into a little bit of a cow shape and a little bit of a cat shape. Keep it so mild. Again, this practice is intended for you to be able to do anywhere. Let's just keep it really mild. It's meant to just help you to find a little bit of comfort, a little bit of peace. Maybe when you've been sitting and staring at a computer screen for a while, or maybe you've been in a meeting. Okay, the next time you pass through neutral, you're going to stay in neutral. And this time, the hands come down once again to the knees, the thighs, or they could just hang by your sides, but you'll turn your face to the left. And then with your whole body, lean to the left and look over there to the left like you drop something on the floor. And then it's almost like a ragdoll motion with your upper mid-back, returning yourself to a neutral position, still facing left. So you're still twisted to the left. Now with your whole body, lean and look to the left. And then see if you can identify the lowest vertebra on your back, especially on the right there, that appears to be side bent, and start to unside bend from those lowest vertebra. What an interesting sensation, right? And now side bend from the top. down, and release the side bend from the bottom to the top. So it's kind of like a side bending rag doll, right? Let's do 2 more. This is actually borrowed from a Feldenkrais lesson, which I loved. Awesome, awesome for teaching about the thoracic spine. Okay, next time you side bend to the left and you're looking down, you're just going to stay there for a moment. Bring your right hand to the upper back of the seat, and your left forearm comes all the way down to your left thigh. So left forearm resting on the thigh, right hand pushing slightly. So your right shoulder and waist are actually moving away slightly from the back of the chair. Now you could just stay here with your head hanging passively, or face still turned down, bend your left elbow and rest your forehead on your palm. Just a nice little side bend here. Explore the right side of your waist, shoulders, side of your neck with your breath. So the brain is paying lots and lots of attention to the neck and the shoulder. When we have stiffness, it appears as if the brain is even paying more attention. In fact, it's making some very subtle changes to the tissues in the neck and the shoulders to actually make them stiffer for some reason. Maybe because if you've been sitting looking at a computer screen all day, your brain is like, you know what, let me make this easier by adaptively stiffening these tissues. So actually, the brain is doing you a favor by giving you a nice stiff neck, right? Because that's what you're doing all day. It just makes sense. Your body is very loyal, very responsive to your needs and habits. Take 1 more breath in your side bend. And then again, you're not going to pop up. That would be a little too much because that is intense. Lean forward. So you're moving into the back of the chair again. Bring both hands onto the back so that you can return yourself to a neutral position again. Back to a neutral position. Just rest your arms on that chair. Come to a posture which is pretty steady, mostly straight up and down, but not stiff. So let's revisit this idea. The brain adaptively stiffened your neck because of your habits. Because for some reason, it makes more sense for your neck to be stiff. What an idea, right? Hey, thanks, brain. Okay. So then I'm going to have you actually press down into the chair with your hands and help yourself to a standing position. Help yourself to a standing position. And bring the palms of your hands directly onto the seat of the chair now. And orient your legs so your heels are directly under your sitting bones. So your legs are pretty straight up and down. Arms are pretty straight and straight up and down. And just let your head hang here with your spine pretty long, tail moving back. And this is kind of a funky movement, but I'd like for you to really press those hands down and round your back. And you might notice that your shoulder blades moved apart. And then do the opposite. Actually, let your chest come down and your shoulder blades collapse together on your back. Now push down into your hands. Feel your shoulder blades protract. That's moving apart. And then let your chest collapse down. Let your shoulder blades move together. That's a retracted position for your shoulder blades. Let's do this a few more times and just enjoy the movement of those shoulder blades. A few more times with the breath, please. And please do keep it gentle. Sometimes we call these like scapular push-ups, but that's a little aggressive for the quality of this practice. So instead, let's just think of this as a very interesting and somewhat complicated breathing practice. Inhaling, let the chest collapse, shoulder blades together. Exhaling, push your upper back up, protract. Last time. Good. And with your shoulder blades protracted, I'm going to have you look toward the back of the chair again and bring your right forearm onto the back ridge of the seat, that upper ridge. And bring your left forearm to the seat of the chair. So one forearm is on the back of the chair, one forearm is on the seat of the chair. And maybe this is a little intense for you already, so you're just going to stay in this folded position and kind of enjoy the stretch in the front of your chest. Let your head hang as much as possible. Some of you, though, could use even more stretch. So if you'd like, you can really let that chest just drop down, just hang down. And you're getting quite a bit of stretch in your armpit. Feels pretty good. We'll call it a half Apanasana, half heart melting. 2 more nice stretched out breaths. Bring the left palm flat onto the seat of the chair, and then push this left arm to straight, and then bring the right hand down. Again, this is kind of intense, so you just want to take it easy. And then walk the hands back to the edge of the seat, and then just ragdoll yourself up to a vertical position, standing position. Take a breath. And then I'm going to have you actually sit on the chair again, but you're going to be sitting in kind of a different way because your knees are not going to be facing straight forward. They're going to face the side. So as you sit, your right side now is facing the back of the chair. Right side is facing the back of the chair. Maybe your left butt cheek isn't even on the seat of the chair anymore. And you'll take your 2 hands and just hold the back of the chair again. So basically a seated twist with your hands on the back of the chair, right? And feel that right side shoulder blade especially smush onto the back as you push with your right hand into the back of the chair. And then let your heart and your face turn to the left. You'll untwist a little bit. And then with your hands again, twist a little bit more to the right, heart and face turning to the right. So let's keep it kind of dynamic for a second. You're going to turn your heart and your face to the left. And then you'll turn your heart and face to the right. Use the right hand pushing into the chair. Heart and face to the left. Heart and face to the right. And this time just stay. Let that right shoulder blade smush down and onto the back. And so gently just let the head turn side to side now. So we're going to keep the spine pretty steady and just turning the upper part of the spine, the neck, right? Keep it so gentle, so gentle. So if the nervous system and the brain have stiffened the neck out of some loyalty to you, whether it's because you often need to have your neck stiff for your occupation, or maybe it's because there are some sensitivities about the neck, right? In either case, stretching is not going to adaptively lengthen those tissues to make it easier for you to turn your head. I'm sorry. Stretching will not create this magical long tissue situation, okay? I'll tell you what will in a moment, though. So keep the twist and just hold the head in a steady position now, whatever's comfortable. One more breath. Okay, and then you're going to unwind, and stand up. Once again, face the chair and bring the palms of the hands to the seat of the chair. Heels just under the sit bones, wrists just under the shoulders. This time gazing just slightly forward, maybe just to the back edge of the seat of the chair. Let's do a few more scapular push-ups, just with a slightly different position of your head. So squeeze your shoulder blades together, let your heart collapse, and then push down into the hands, shoulder blades move apart. Let's do 3 more scapular push-ups. And by the way, if this is hard for you, good job. I'm glad you're doing it. A lot of times when the neck has stiffened, we're also having a lot of trouble moving our shoulder blades on our back. This is something I see a lot of with my clients, is those shoulder blades just get a little bit locked up. Everything is just really stiff, almost in protection mode. So sometimes just moving the shoulder blades is not that easy, right? So the next time you're in that collapsed position, you're going to stay. Bring your left forearm to the back of the chair and your right forearm to the seat of the chair. So you're kind of asymmetrical here, right? Let your head just hang now. And then maybe you're just staying pretty neutral with your spine, but some of you will even drop your heart even more and let your head hang. You'll drop your heart even more for a big stretch in your armpit and your chest, and you'll breathe. For your half Apanasana. The most important part of this is not the position, not the stretch, not even the muscles. It's actually the breath. So let's take 2 more. It's actually the breath. Okay. So push down into the right palm, so you have a straight right arm. Bring the left hand down to the seat of the chair, so 2 hands on the seat of the chair. Lean back into those heels and ragdoll yourself up. Ragdoll yourself back up. And then let's do our fun little twist on that second side. So this time, you're going to sit on the side of the chair with your left hip closest to the back of the chair, left hip to the back of the chair, and your 2 hands on the chair again, onto that back. And then just a little push with the left hand, and you'll feel your twist get a little bit deeper, but you'll also feel your left shoulder blade on your back, right? And then let's kind of unwind a little bit. So turn your heart back out over your knees, and then turn your heart back to the left, back to the seat back. Maybe a little pulling with the right hand. And go nice and slow. So your face is turning in the same direction as your heart at all times. So when your heart is pushing or turning to the back of the chair, your face also turns to the back of the chair. And when your heart points back out past your knees, so do your eyes. Just a few more with the breath. So these deep stretches will not adaptively lengthen your neck to make it easier for you to turn your head. Sorry. This last time when you're in the twist, your left shoulder blade is nice and steady on your back. You're going to stay in the twist, okay? Not only should that left shoulder blade be really firm on your back, but I'd also like for you to let it slide down your back, almost like your shoulder blade wants to slide into your left back pocket. Yeah, and then with this steady spine, steady torso, just gently turning the head to the right and then back out over your left shoulder, any amount. Stretching will not adaptively lengthen tissues. However, stretching and mobility work like you're doing right now will increase range of motion. Did you know those 2 things were different? So the length of your tissues and the range of motion are not well correlated, because range of motion is neurally modulated. That's right. Your brain and your nervous system decide how much range of motion you need at any given time. So they can make your tissues stiffer, or they can make it so that they're a little bit more compliant and you have more range of motion. One more time. Turning to the right, and this time you turn to the left, and you're actually just going to stay in that twist just for a couple of breaths. Okay. So you'll release that twist. So you're sitting in a much more normal position, turning out over the knees. Just notice any differences between your two sides. Once again, I'm going to have you stand up so that you are facing the chair. Face the chair. Once again, bring your palms onto the seat of the chair. Your heels roughly under your two sitting bones. This time, take a cow spine. So lift your heart, lift your tail. Feel your shoulder blades kind of squeeze together, especially the low aspect of your shoulder blades, right? And then round your back and tuck your chin. Feel your shoulder blades protract, and they also move up a little bit, right? So the upper aspect of the shoulder blade moves further apart. And then the cow finds that retraction and also a depressing of your shoulder blades, moving down and together slightly. And the cat, that rounded back, finds a position of the shoulder blades which is rising up and moving apart. Let's do just a couple more. I really want you to enjoy those shoulder blades moving and sliding around. And you might already be aware that your shoulder blades don't exactly move in lockstep. They don't move in unison. This is totally normal. Your two shoulder blades have lived two completely separate lives, so they don't behave the same at all times. Okay. One more, finding that cat, that rounded back, that protracted shoulder blade position. And then bring your feet back a little bit so that you're in a little bit more of an angled position, and take your hands all the way to the back of the chair. You might need to correct your feet all the way to the top of the back of the seat. That's a hard thing to say. And your heels are under your sitting bones, and your hands are gripping the back of the seat, and just hang your head. Kind of like a chair dog, only a little more intense. So this would be our full apanasana in the yin practice. Your head is certainly hanging. And this can be pretty intense. So if it's a little too much for you, you could bring your hands down to the seat of the chair for this. It'd be a deeper fold, but a little more gentle on the chest and shoulders. But most of all, please just take care of yourself. This is meant to help you, not harm you. And given the fact that I'm not there with you, I can't make any choices on your behalf. Only you can. When I do this one, I kind of like to rock my chair a little bit, kind of pull it back toward me. One more breath. Letting those upper vertebrae just really sink down. And then one at a time, bring your hands to the seat of the chair. If they're not already, come back to more of a neutral, almost tabletop position. Walk your feet a little closer to the chair, and then rock into your heels and ragdoll up one more time. And then find a seat, just sitting normally in your chair. Weird. Sit normally in your chair. And if you have a comfortable back on your chair, lean into it. Let your hands just rest on your thighs. And find a position which is really nice and stable, but not too stiff, okay? Not too stiff. Notice any differences between your two sides, but don't try to fix them. Again, it's normal to have differences side to side. Take a couple more breaths here in this very abbreviated Shavasana. Notice if the shoulders move at all, shoulder blades as you breathe in and out. And then take the palms of your hands to your heart and bow your head. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.